Emily tossed and turned in her bed. Sheets twisted around her legs and struggled against the suffocating grip of her nightmares. Images flashed through her mind like fragments of shattered glass, each one more terrifying than the last. In her dreams, the sun loomed overhead like a benevolent god, its shifting colors casting an eerie glow over everything it touched. Emily could feel its baleful gaze burning into her soul, filling her with a sense of dread that threatened to consume her whole. But it was not just the sun that haunted her dreams. Memories of past traumas resurfaced with an intensity that bordered on hallucination. Blurring the lines between reality and nightmares, she had seen her mother's face twisted with pain and fear as she lay dying in the hospital bed. She heard the sounds of her father's voice, cold and distant as he blamed her for her mother's death. And always there was the sun burning bright and fierce, its colors shifting and changing with each passing moment. It seemed to beckon her, drawing her ever closer to the brink of madness. Emily awoke with her heart pounding in her chest as she struggled to catch her breath. Sweat beaded on her brow as she sat up in her bed, the remnants of her nightmares still lingering like a foul stench in the air. She glanced at the clock in her nightstand, the numbers glowing faintly in the dim light of her bedroom. It was still early, the sky outside dark and foreboding. But try as she might, Emily knew sleep would lure her down. With a sigh, she swung her legs over the side of the bed and stood up. The floor cold beneath her bare feet. She needed to clear her head, to get away from the suffocating grip of her nightmare. If only just for one brief moment. She made her way downstairs, the old wooden steps creaking beneath the weight. This house was silent. The only sound of the self-timer refrigerator in the kitchen. Emily paused in the doorway, her gaze sweeping over the familiar surroundings. But even here in the safety of her parents' home, she could not escape the memories that haunted her. Everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of the past. The family photos on the walls, the knickknacks on the shelves. Even the worn-out sofa where she and her parents used to sit and watch television together. The shudder, Emily tore her gaze away from her memories and made her way into the kitchen. She needed something to distract her, to take her mind off these nightmares that were plaguing her every waking moment. She flicked on the light switch, bathing the room's soft yellow glow. The kitchen was tight and everything was proper place still. But even here, in the heart of her home, Emily could not shake this feeling of unease that seemed to linger in the air like a thick fog. She poured herself a glass of water and took a sip. A cool liquid soothing sip that parched her dry throat. But even as she drank, her mind raced with questions and fears. What was happening? What was happening to her world? What did this all mean? With a sigh, Emily set the glass down on the counter and leaned against the sink. The weight of her exhaustion pressed down on her like a heavy burden. She closed her eyes, willing herself to some semblance of peace in the midst of the chaos that surrounded her. But even in the darkness, behind her eyelids, the memories lingered, twisting and warping into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock her. Emily opened her eyes with a gasp, the room spinning around her as she struggled to stay upright. She reached her hand to steady herself, her fingers trembling as they brushed against the edge of the sink. But instead of finding solid ground, she felt herself falling, tumbling, headlong into the abyss of her own mind. And as she fell, the memories came rushing back with a vengeance threatening to consume her whole. She'd seen her mother's face, twisted with pain and fear, her eyes pleading for mercy. She heard the sounds of her father's voice, cold and distant, as he blamed her for her mother's death yet again. But worst of all, she saw the sun. The sun was burning bright and fierce. Its shifting colors seared into her mind like a brand. It seemed to mock her, taunting her with its malevolent presence, as if daring her to confront the truth that lay buried deep within her soul. With a cry of despair, Emily reached out a hand to grasp hold of something, anything to anchor her to reality. But there was nothing to grasp, nothing to grab, only the darkness that surrounded her like a suffocating blanket swallowing her whole. As she fell deeper into this abyss, Emily knew with a sickening certainty that there was no escape from the haunting memories that plagued her every waking moment. For they were a part of her now, a part of her soul that could never be erased. And try as she may, she knew she could never outrun the